business builder show where we believe EMRs suck. That systems and software should actually improve your practice and your life, not consume it. And here, our only measure of success are systems that give you the time to enjoy your life and the financial freedom to do that. So today, Nate is coming on with us. He's going to talk about, so Nate's going to talk about Paubox. This is something that he and I have discussed at length, and this is what I particularly use for my software. But there are people out there that aren't using my software, but need something like this and don't even know that they need something like this. So Nate actually approached me a couple of days ago and said about trying to help some people through this, because as a single person, it's really not something that you can just go out and grab. It's very costly to implement it and to make it part of your process. And a lot of people don't even realize why they need it. So from here, Nate, I'll let you introduce yourself, tell everybody a little bit about you and what you do and your group, and
Sure.
And we'll just kind of go from there. So
Cool.
How about it, brother?
So my name's Nate Hoffman. I've been a PT for a little over a decade now, and I run a Facebook group, and there's probably several people in this group who are I'm sure part of that as well. But it's called G Suite for Healthcare Providers, and it teaches. We put on just a bunch of free. We put on a ton of free stuff out there for how to optimize G Suite for various purposes. There's a lot of people who are utilizing it as their EMR because it is HIPAA compliant, and we'll get into this a little bit. There are ways in which it is and ways in which it isn't, and you have to kind of be able to know. And those are some of the topics that we cover in my group. But anyway, so I teach people how to utilize various tools and whatnot to help automate things such as patient intakes, which can be sent out via Google Forms, and documentation, emails, texting. How do you utilize it to its highest potential to automate and simplify your practice cheaply? Through G Suite. So that's kind of what we focus on in our group.
Great, yeah, and I'm a member of the group. I enjoy it also. It's this is something Nate and I were talking about before we even came on here. I do an EMR replacement. My EMR replacement isn't right for everybody. It's not going to be for everyone. Every practice isn't what they need. Every individual, it's not what they need. Some people are going to want something totally different. They're going to want something like what Nate's doing, which is G Suite. And I really recommend his group, like looking at it. If that's something that you are interested in, if that is you, I really recommend, I've just put it down below, G Suites for Healthcare Providers. That's Nate's site, and there's tons of stuff there. It's a really great resource if that's what you're looking to do. So Nate, today, the Paubox, like, why don't we get into a little bit about the discovery that you've made, and I've had the same discovery with the G Suite and
HIPAA compliance
and HIPAA compliance and everything.
Yeah.
So would you mind sharing your experience there?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you sign on and when you look at G Suite, first of all, it's $6 a month for your classic. And it says that it's HIPAA compliant. They'll sign a BAA with you and whatnot. But when you get kind of into it and you look around, what you really have to understand is, especially when you're doing things like sending emails or text message or whatnot, you are responsible when it comes to HIPAA of where the information sits in your own platform or in your own G Suite, where it sits, how it's transmitted, and then at the end, where it ends up. And so that's completely on you. So if you're sending out emails to to whoever, and then you don't know if at their end it supports encryption, then you're not HIPAA compliant. That's what's happening is you're sending, and people think of like, okay, EPHI. Well, I'm sending an email, but I'm not talking about their health history. Identifiers, including email addresses. That's personal health information, essentially. So if you're sending out an email to somebody and you're just saying, hey, fill this intake out. Well, it's coming from your email address. Oh, look, let's say somebody takes a look at your email. Oh, look, this one got someone from Hoffman Health Physical Therapy. They got an email there and they're asking to fill out an intake. automatically that person knows this person's going to physical therapy and they're being sent an intake, right? So,
Right.
you know what I mean? That is so I
That
mean, it makes sense intuitively when you think about it. It's like, yeah, if someone looks at that email, they're going to know, yeah, that's
right. Right.
anyway. But so you have to think about
Would
that.
you mind saying that again? What the bit about their email being
Yeah,
EPA?
email, like an email address is EPHI. Even things like appointment times, EPHI. Like those are identifying things that can be considered. They're HIPAA protected. So some people, when they think about HIPAA, they only think about the data. You know, like the measures that you got and whatnot. Well, that's not completely true. You know, there's a lot of different identifiers and things like that that lie under your responsibility to keep out of the hands of the public. So even if it's not necessarily associated with health stuff, you know what I mean?
Right.
It doesn't necessarily have to do that. All these identifiers are saying, okay, this person at this email address is going to this physical therapy place. That is protected information as well. So that's why having a platform that has end-to-end encryption is in my opinion, it's the way to go. You can do things like you can send out consent forms and things like that and have your patients sign them and agree to receive communications via email. But I think the thing that makes it like a kind of a pain right there is number one, they're going to feel kind of pressured from you as the provider to sign that kind of stuff. Number one, hey, this is how I want to communicate. Sign this. I don't view that as the best way of going about it. You can do it, and it covers some bases. So that but then it also adds an extra administrative burden on you. And is this something that I really want to keep track of? How many people have signed consents, and I can email, and how many people haven't, and I can't. So that's where it's just another step. It's another thing that you don't, as a practice manager or as a practice owner, you don't want to have to deal with.
Another thing that my HIPAA attorney told me: a person cannot sign away their HIPAA rights. They can't sign themselves out of HIPAA law. Like so they can't say, oh well, yeah, it's fine for you to communicate with me like this. Now HIPAA no longer applies to their personal health information. They can't sign it away. The obligation is still on you. Even if they say it is okay to reach me in this format, you have to give it your due diligence. Because when I was building my platform, this was something we went into great detail in. And a signature does not relieve your obligation to protect their health information. So even if they sign it, you still are obligated. Hey, Denise, Andy, Mario, Dennis. So so you are still obligated. Now with G Suite, you said you're responsible from one end, the transmission, and where it rests on the other end. Where is the problem?
The problem when it comes to emails, where it ends up, right? So if it ends, most emails support encryption, and so if you're sending from G Suite, they're encrypted at rest in G Suite. You write up your email, you transmit it in route. It's encrypted. It's great, but then where it lands in the recipient's email, it may not support encryption, and and for you, it's hard to know that. It's hard to know if the end user has it.
Can't.
So you can't know it. And so the easiest way to do it is to use a third party. And there's a lot of different things out there. I mean, another one that's really common is OneCard. They're Virtru. You'll see a lot of stuff out there for Virtru. You'll see a lot. I mean, there are a lot of encrypted emails out there. And so what I found as I've looked at, Barracuda, that's super expensive, high-end stuff. But what I found is, number one, they're fairly expensive. Virtru isn't too bad. But even though Virtru isn't too bad, what I don't like about it is it's too many clicks. You have to sit here and go, okay, yes, I want this encrypted. Yes, I want, this is how I want it opened, or when I want it to disappear, or yada, yada, yada. It's kind of, it adds that much more of an extra step to what you have to do.
Right. We're all busy. I don't want to add anything extra to my day that I have to manage. One more thing every day that I've got to manage. I don't want to.
Yeah. And so that's where Paubox is really great. is because what it does is it just operates in the background, essentially, and it almost acts as a filter. It looks at the recipient's email. It says, okay, is it safe to send it there? If it's not safe, then it sends the recipient to their platform where the recipient has to, enter a passcode and stuff to view the communication. And so from your end, from the sender's end, you almost don't know. It's just happening. And so that's what I like about it. It doesn't require extra clicks. It's kind of out of sight, out of mind. It takes care of itself. Once you've got it set up, you're running, and it's not a big, and it's right. Simple. So that's my, that hands down, as of all the ones that I've looked at, it is, as far as I know, the simplest, most user-friendly platform out there.
Same. Like I did a ton of research on this. Granted, mine was a couple of years ago, but yeah, at the time I found it to be the simplest, the most cost-effective method of doing it. With Paubox, the nice thing is my programmers, for example, went in and I wanted to test it. This is me. I'm not very trusting of things. I've got to figure it out for myself, even if they're like, oh, this does this. So I had my programmers hack in to try to get the body of the email. They can't. They couldn't get in. It's all encrypted. They can see it. It's all encrypted though, so you have no idea what the heck it means. Whereas my regular G Suite, even though mine was HIPAA compliant, they could still hop in and see the body of the email with minimal hacking to get into there. So this makes it next to impossible. And the other thing that I love about Paubox is if it's not supported, then there's a link that they go through to get it. Once they go through the link one time, then it's good. It's just a click through to get to it. Yeah. So it's really good. And another thing that you can do is on the first time through, you can walk the person through that. Yeah. Right. So in my practice, I would ask them, hey, did you get my email? If they say, yes, I got your email, then great, or I had problems. Oh, let me help you. So then I walk through, okay, you're going to set up a password here. You're going to do this. You'll do this one time and it's done. So I walk them through it. So then the communication between me and them is seamless, which is the ultimate goal.
Yeah. So it's, fantastic. So when you take all that stuff into consideration, you take in the decreased amount of administrative work on your side, the simplicity of the platform, not having to click through everything, and patient satisfaction. I think that people really, it's fairly simple from their end as well. And just, especially for individuals, and what we're seeing in our industry, so many people jumping away from large industry and saying, I'm going to do my own little thing. I'm going to have my solo practice. Maybe I'm going to grow a little bit here and there, have a few other people under me. People want that personal touch. And that's what these small practitioners, and that's what, most people in your group and in a lot of these groups that we see on Facebook, these small groups, email makes a lot of sense. And so that's why I find that something like this is necessary, so that you don't have to, number one, you're completely compliant, and number two, you don't have to deal with all those other issues that we've talked about. So Paubox hands down is the best. And so that's why, anyway, one of those things I really strongly endorse.
Yeah. So same. I really strongly endorse it if I embedded it in my software, so I really strongly believe in it.
Oh yeah. Did you use the API for yours?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's all, everything's all built in, everything's automatic. They don't have to do anything. It's just in.
That's awesome.
Well, Patrick, Jacob, what's going on, guys? I hope you guys are well. So you have a unique offer that you're going to do, because the problem for individuals, which we discussed earlier, is Paubox is kind of expensive if you're just going to hop in yourself and just grab it. Like it's a little more expensive to use and operate as a single provider or a small practice. If you're a large practice, this isn't as big a deal. You absorb that cost. You don't even notice it's there. Hey, Patrick, how's it going? So you don't even notice the cost is there for it. And guys, if any of you are using something like this, please just comment down below. Let us know what specifically you're using to encrypt your emails. So you kind of did something unique. You kind of went out, thought outside the box, and kind of did something.
Yeah. So I got a hold of Paubox and I said, hey, what can I do so that we can get because the way that they do it is they only sell in bundles of 3. You have to buy 3 licenses in order to even purchase Paubox. And so, I mean, it's not an incredible cost. It's $30 a month, but ultimately for small practices, that adds up over a year's time. And I wanted, especially like we're talking about, a lot of people are going off solo with small practices. I want to reduce costs as much as possible. So what I did was I reached out to them, and they'll say, "Hey Nate, we will sell you a bunch of licenses if you want to turn around and sell them back." So and so that's what I'm doing, because I want to be able to offer these like one-on-one, just single use, licenses for individuals. And so that's what I did. And so we need to sell, we need to get about at least 20 of those sold so that it makes financial sense for me to jump on this. And truth be known, I'm not making an incredible amount of money on this. This is for members of my group who are really interested, but just don't want that price point. And so I'm just doing this more or less as a favor, but right. I wanted to jump on here and offer that to everyone. And what we'll do, and I talked to Ray about this, is we can put in a link to a Google form where if you have interest in this, it's gonna be $12 a month for single use is going to be the price point. Typically, like I said, it's $30 is your minimum purchase. So yeah. This is great, like whatever that is, 60-70% discount is what right. we're doing. So anyway, so we're going to do it for $12 a month, and I can give you the link to the Google form. People can sign in below and say, yeah, I want to go ahead and jump on this, and then we'll go ahead and get everything set up. It'll take a few steps. It'll take a little while because I have to get all the purchasing and everything taken care of. It'll probably be sometime next week when we get it going, but that's the game plan. I'll be essentially administrating all the payments and everything like that, just so that we can get this in the hands of people.
Great, Acre. Yeah, what's going on? So that's pretty awesome. So just for the people that have just hopped on, like a little recap, just of the why Paubox is necessary, what it is used for, how it protects you, and your offer to cut their costs on Paubox for a single use person by almost a third.
Yep, you got it. Almost like whatever, probably like 65% off.
Okay, yeah. So it's necessary because in your inbox you're sending in G Suite, you're fine. The problem is when it lands in the other person's inbox. You are responsible for the data being encrypted in their inbox if you send them emails and you share EPHI, electronic personal health information. So if you share that, you're responsible for it being encrypted in their inbox. Paubox allows you to do that. It allows you to communicate pretty much anything that you would like within email and have it covered in their inbox. It's typically pretty costly. It's the minimum of $30 a month, and Nate has a great offer. If you get a hold of him, you can get it for, and I'll include the link below in the comments. You can get it through him for $12 a month. So if you're a solopreneur and you're doing this, or you're just starting out, maybe you only have 2 people, you don't want to buck up and pay the $30, then you can really get this for a reduced price, and it will help you stay HIPAA compliant going forward.
Yeah,
Nate,
yeah, absolutely.
So anything else you would like to share here?
That's basically it, But it's been good talking to you, and always. I mean, heck, I even learned something because I know. Yeah. Anyway, we talked through all this stuff on our site as well. Some of these issues surrounding HIPAA compliance and G Suite, and there's so many things that are HIPAA compliant, some things that aren't. But anyway, people interested in that, you're welcome to come check it out as well and just kind of see how G Suite can be optimized. And the truth is even if you're using other platforms for your documentation and whatnot, which is totally awesome, totally fine. G Suite's not for everyone. There are some really cool tips and tricks that we share in there for like how to do little snippets that auto-populate all sorts of documentation verbiage, right. And maybe if you want to do intakes online and you want to use Google Forms for that, little tips and tricks that help to simplify certain business aspects. And so even if you're not using it as a complete practice management tool, there's lots of cool things in there that you can utilize that simplify your life.
Yeah, one of the
Well,
things that he's talking about, the snippet thing, is you have a hotkey. So you have a key assigned on your keyboard that you select. If you have a particular statement that you want to add, you just select that key, and it puts the statement in its in its full form right in there for you automatically, so you don't have to type the same thing out over and over and over again. That's specifically what he's talking about. Yeah, and the group is awesome. I've included the thing below. It's trailing there right now, the G Suite for healthcare providers. If you would like to get more on that, make sure you join the group. There is so much in there, and like I said, it's not just the G Suite thing. There's more in there. There's little tips, little tricks in there. It is a great group. I really highly recommend you doing that. And I will include the link below. If you're someone who's in here that's interested in the Paubox, maybe you're a small practice and you want to implement something and you don't want to incur the large cost of doing it, this is a great option. So Nate, thank you, man, for being here. I really appreciate it. And
you got it.
Thank everyone. I want to thank everyone for coming and checking out the PT Business Builders group and show, where we believe EMRs suck. That systems and software should actually improve your practice and your life, not consume it. And here, the only measure of success are systems that give you the time to enjoy your life and the financial freedom to enjoy that. So again, thank you guys for stopping in. Nate, from the bottom of my heart, thanks for sharing with the group. Thank you for doing this. I'm sure it's going to help a lot of people.
You got it. Yeah, you take care. You have a good one.
All right, you too, my friend.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, bye.